Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to expose your Kubernetes clusters out to the internet without paying any money, basically, unless you want to, of course. So before we get started, I would like to share something with you guys. So I've recently passed my PJPT certification. You can find my credential over here. You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. And yeah. With that out of the way, let's discuss what we are doing today, right? So a long time ago, I had this idea that, you can probably expose your cluster to the internet, and I had documented it over here, as you can see. Expose your cluster to the internet, optional, right? I did put like this particular project, which I have updated now. But back then it didn't really work. I did it manually and it worked back then, but I didn't really think I would, write some sort of script for it because there is not too many steps involved in doing this. Um, but I think this is something interesting, and I seem to, create and delete Kubernetes clusters lots of times, like at least a couple times in a month. So I thought, why not just automate the whole damn process? All right, so let's see what we are doing here. So we have our local area network in which we have our Kubernetes cluster, and we have a VM, right, which is acting as our JProxy for our kubectl traffic. And then we are using the same VM to create a tunnel over WireGuard, and we are having some sort of way using which we are sort of exposing that traffic to the internet, right? So this was the idea back then, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you a project which basically automates this step, in which we have created a connection. And before I go there, let's discuss some of the benefits of doing it over WireGuard, right? So one benefit is that you don't need to have, like in this implementation, we are also using DuckDNS. So your both your VPS and your public IP in your LAN can change. You don't need to have static IP addresses on either side. WireGuard will figure out the correct IP address using DuckDNS for the VPS, and then from there the handshake basically works. You really don't need to have a static public IP address for this. Um, and then another benefit is like you can have security benefits of doing this, right? So let's say you were exposing your cluster by opening up ports in your router, right? Now you don't need to do that, right? Whatever security stuff that you want to implement, you don't need to really implement it in your sort of machine. If you want to pay your cloud provider for security, you can have some sort of web filtering for the traffic that comes in into your VM, right? And you can do it that way. Right, so bunch of benefits here, and another benefit is like you're basically hiding your public IP address, because whenever someone tries to access the domain, so for in this example, we are going to be using some example.duckdns.org, right? If someone tries to access that, and they will be returned the IP address of this particular VM, they won't basically see what is going on behind the scenes, right? So your public IP is basically safe because we are doing a proxy pass internally using Nginx, and you can do stuff to secure the cloud facing things, and yeah, you can go from there. In this particular example, I won't be talking about security in much detail. I'm just going to show you the baseline HTTP example working, and yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll be happy to help, right? Okay, so we have our WireGuard gateway VM running, and as you can see, I have a public IP address over here, and what I have done is I have cloned this particular repository, which is WireGuard gates ingress. And if you see, we have all the prerequisites. You need to have a small VPS basically with a public IP, and we have that. We need one Proxmox VM that connects to this cloud VM. So we're going to do this. Actually, I should modify this. We should have a Kubernetes cluster running in the same subnet as the Proxmox VM. And then we're going to have to run the script from a host that has kubectl access. So I have access to a Kubernetes cluster over here. It does not need to be the same thing that I'm running over here. But if you are interested, you can check out this particular project, which automates the whole process of creating a Kubernetes cluster on your Proxmox environment. There should be some videos describing how this works as well on my channel. Okay, with that being said, let me show you what this has created. This particular script, what it does is this creates worker and master nodes, and then it creates a HA proxy VM. I'm going to use the same VM for creating this WireGuard connection that you see over here. One thing to note is that it does not need to be an HA proxy as you see over here. It does not need to have this HA proxy process running over here. You can you might as well just create another VM in the same subnet. As long as it is in the same subnet as the worker nodes, it will be fine, right? Okay, with that being said, let's just run this. So I have cloned the thing over here. I do have some changes which I'm going to commit, but basically first let's look at what the readme says. We need to copy these configuration files and update them. So I'll show you some of my configuration files. So duckDNS, I'm not going to show you this one because it has a token, and then we are going to specify the subdomain that we are going to use from duckDNS. Same thing we need to also copy over here, which in WireGuard vars. So you can see I'm using wgingress.duckdns.org. That's the domain that I have taken from duckDNS. This is my gateway user, and this is my WireGuard port. So when I say gateway means the cloud VM or the VPS that you have running in some cloud provider. Yeah. Similarly, when I say proxy, which you will see over here, when I say proxy, I mean the local VM that is running on Proxmox or some sort of environment which is in your local subnet, right? This is the IP address, and what I can do is I can just double check. Yeah, 124. That's my IP address for the proxy, and this is the RSA key that I need to use for SSH, and this is the username. Similarly, this is the IP address, public IP address of my VPS, username, and the key to use for SSH. So with that out of the way, we are just going to run make on this, and make does two things. So if I show you the make file, make does two things. It runs a check script and then sets up WireGuard and as well as ingress, right? So let's go. Okay, so I did cut the video back there. The reason being is Oracle Cloud has something called CGNAT, and if you want to bypass this, there is this repo. I have added it to the README section over here along with a couple extra steps. Where is it? There we go. So you can see I have added the link to this repository. So what you need to do is just follow the steps for your cloud provider. If you're using AWS or other popular cloud providers, I don't think you should run into this. But in any case, you can just try and see what happens, right? So for me, I had to follow the steps in this repository to make sure that I had some configuration such that it bypasses the CGNAT that Oracle has put in place. Okay, so now let's rerun make. Do I have a shell? Okay, there we go. So make. I did run updates and install all the packages because this is not exactly a new run. This is a rerun basically, but I think it should be fine if you're running this for the first time. So what I mean is like this is not the first time I'm running this on these VMs, so they have a couple things already done to them. So for example, in the checks, you will see that I'm installing Nginx and updating some packages. You might as well do this manually. It would save you some time instead of just sitting here waiting for this Ansible script to finish. It will just give you okay like this. So yeah, you might want to do that. I think I did add it in the README as well, hopefully. Yeah, so optionally you can install updates on both VMs. Um, and you can install the dependencies as well, which is Nginx and WireGuard. Okay, so Nginx is done. Okay, so all checks have passed successfully. And now we are setting up the WireGuard connection. Again, you will see some output which will be different for you. So there is a step in the Ansible, this particular file where we have, where is it? Yeah, so here we are removing the older connection. So you might see some sort of error, but don't worry, we are just ignoring that. Yeah, and if you just see like some red text, don't worry about it. Don't control C out of it. It's fine. Okay, so I think we have created the DuckDNS container. So now if I go to the VM over here, let's see, what was the IP? 129.154.47. Okay, so if you see over here, we now should see a DuckDNS container, right? So what this container does is it automatically updates the IP address in your DuckDNS portal and points to the public IP address of this particular VM, right? So for example, if you reboot this VM and this IP address changes, DuckDNS will take care of that. This container should automatically update the DNS that you have specified. So in this case, you would have specified it over here, right? So this particular entry will be updated to reflect that change. Let's close the, oh, okay, we can wait here. So now you can see we have created the public and private keys for the proxy. Now it will do the same thing on the gateway. In fact, I think we should have the older connection here. Yeah, so we still have the older connection. It will get rid of this older connection and create a new one. So it has figured out the public facing interface. In this case, it's this one. Okay, we are generating the keys. Whoa, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, okay, this is for proxy, that's fine. Yeah, so as you can see, we are ignoring this. So it looks like I had maybe manually deleted the interface. So as you can see, it deleted the interface for the gateway. You can see it has changed here. you might see something similar to this two times, once for the proxy and once again for the gateway. In case you have existing connections, you will see something like this, right? So as you can see, my older interface is gone now. Okay, so now it has generated the new WireGuard config with the new public and private keys. Hopefully we should see, yep, there we go. So hopefully we should see the handshake. Yep, there we go. So we have a handshake there. This is one of the critical tests, just to make sure, you know, that we do have the WireGuard connection before we proceed. If this passes, then, you know, we are good. Yep, so in this case, we did pass the ping, and now it's trying to configure the Nginx part of the config. So in terms of Nginx, what we are doing is we are basically taking all the traffic that reaches ports 80 and 443 on the VPS, forwarding them through the WireGuard tunnel to the Proxmox VM. In my case, it is the HA proxy VM that we saw earlier, and then there is another Nginx configuration on that HA proxy VM, which is taking in the traffic that's coming on ports 80 and 443 and then forwarding them to all the worker nodes on my Kubernetes cluster. And the IP addresses, that figures out the IP addresses using this command, right? So basically this is how we are figuring out all the worker IP addresses. We are getting kubectl get nodes, and we are also like looking at roles and stuff, so that, you know, it's not accidentally getting all the getting some master node, right? Okay, so looks like Nginx controller has been installed, so I'm going to close this. Okay, so now if I try to get pods, you can see that we have our Nginx controller. It's sort of coming up right now. We're just gonna wait for that to spin up, and then we are going to look at the documentation. Okay, so last step will take some time. Yep, make takes a lot of time. This is doing bunch of stuff. Once it's finished, you can create an ingress object to test the connection. This is just an example. You can do this for any other web application that you're running in your cluster. So I'm just going to create this guy. Okay, so our cluster is running. I don't really need that many replicas. Yeah, so we're just going to wait for that, and then we are going to also expose our yeah, I should replace that k with kubectl, just so that there is no confusion at all. kubectl. Okay, and yeah, so let's expose this. All right, and let's update this. Okay, so my subdomain is, so I'll copy it from here because I don't want to make a spelling mistake. I'm going to paste it here. That's my ingress object, and I can just create this. Right, so okay, get ingress. We have our ingress. Just need to wait for here. Hopefully we'll get an address. In fact, I think we might not get an address in this case. I think the service gets the address in this case. Yeah, might be. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the ingress controller gets the external IP. So in this case, it's our It's the IP of our HA proxy VM. Right, so now let's try and access our domain over here. So this is the domain. What we can do is we can say curl. I'm not doing any HTTPS because I have not set up any termination there. There you go, we have Nginx. So what you can do is you can also open this in a browser. Maybe some sort of cache. Oh, we have HTTPS here. Interesting. SSL protocol error. Okay, let's open incognito. Yeah, there we go. Yes, so looks like some sort of caching error on my side. But yeah, it seems to work. Yeah. Okay, so let's try that again. Actually, I'm curious why this is. Huh. Okay, let's also get rid of caches. Maybe that's what's happening. Interesting. Yeah, for some reason it is automatically. Oh, I think I know. This is because I have set my browser to do this. Yeah, so it automatically tries to redirect to HTTPS. That's my bad. But yeah, in case you are not doing weird things with your browser like I am, hopefully you will see this. I think Firefox, I think I might have done the same thing on Firefox though. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think I have not done that on Firefox. So yeah, we are just going directly to this page. Might have actually opened this before because it didn't ask me to accept that certificate error. But anyways, so as you can see, this is working, and I have done a bunch of weird things to my Chrome browser that you should not definitely not do while testing things like this. Yeah, so let me know how it goes for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Connect with me on LinkedIn. If you like to talk about tech, I guess. And yeah, until next time.